Hello and welcome to Theology on Tap. Crazy things going on in the country right now. I think it started way long time ago, like 3.5 years ago, when a president was running, or Trump was running for president. Everybody laughed, and then by November 4 years ago, he became the president. And boy, the half of America, when they lost their minds. In fact, it got really angry. Now, I'm not saying they don't have a reason to be angry. I'm sure there is. There are many reasons to be angry about Trump being the president. But the way that we responded to that anger, well, it just divided the country. And then just recently, because of coronavirus, it's dividing the country even more. I mean, there's some policy issues in the past that was dividing the country, like gun laws and things like that. But especially because of police brutality, everybody's angry. Right? Rightfully angry. I'm not saying it's wrong to be angry, rightfully angry. But the way that we're responding to the anger and the injustice to whatever it is that we believe, it's not edifying. It's not building the country up. It's dividing the country even more. On top of that, when I go to some, Christian perspective, I know our President Trump took a picture in front of a church holding a Bible. And some of the people's response is, hey, here's some verses that he should read. Humble yourself, things like that. We're using Bible verses, throwing at Trump. I don't know how that's going to unite the country. It's easy to find a verse and throw at somebody and say, hey, read this because you need this. I don't know if that's helpful. Then there are other people that use Book of Revelation. It's always Book of Revelation. And say things like, Jesus is going to come back. In fact, there are a few churches that I saw on Facebook. They are about to, or they have already started a sermon series on when is Jesus coming back? What is going to be like? Because some people believe this is the way it's going to be. Everybody hating on each other, riots everywhere, and Jesus is going to come to, judge the living and the dead. And there are a lot of people talking about what's heaven like, what's hell like, when is Jesus coming back? Is it soon? And which a lot of people think it is. I don't know if that's helpful. Well, I know it's not helpful because I don't believe in that. Personally, I don't believe that Jesus is going to be coming back soon to destroy the world or to save the others. I'm very hopeful that things are going to get much better. So I was thinking about making some videos just talking about what Bible says. Not to lecture anybody or anything, but just to see what the Bible says that could be helpful, that could be edifying. Hopefully it works. But first of all, I was thinking about what story in the Bible can I use that is similar or something that is applicable to us today. And I thought about Jacob. Jacob's name means heel grabber because, he had a twin brother, older brother, that's being born first. And Jacob didn't want it. I think he really wanted to be first. But that's humanity, isn't it? We want to be first. We want the gold. We're not happy with the bronze or a silver. We want what is best in life. And a lot of times our best is not as good as others' best, so we get jealous and we want it. We want it. Jacob was that kind of a person. So throughout his life, he was kind of like that. He was very manipulative, right? He lied to get the birthright, stole it from his brother. And when he was working for his uncle, he manipulated and did some shady things to gain wealth from his uncle. He fell in love with a woman named Rachel. And I guess the custom back then was the oldest daughter has to get married first. So Rachel had an older brother that was not married yet. But Jacob was not the kind of person that wanted to wait. He goes for what he wants in life, right? So instead of waiting for her older sister Leah to get married, he said, well, I'll marry both of them. I'll marry both right now. So I could, have Rachel as my wife now, which was not fair for Leah because Jacob didn't have any feelings for Leah. So imagine Leah just created something terrible for her. So you could say he was not a good person at this time, but I think he represents humanity, because we are always lacking something. There's always a better car, better job, better anything, and we want to get it. The more we get, the better it is. We're the heel grabbers. But when the time came when he's coming back home and he has to face his brother Esau, and he was scared, and he probably thought about, what can I do to manipulate my brother to forgive me for taking his birthright? And he couldn't find a way to do it. So he wrestles with God. And the word wrestle literally means he grappled with God. So instead of he was a heel grabber, but now he wrestled with God. And to a point where he made peace with God and was blessed, and his name Jacob was changed to Israel, which means he grappled with God. He wrestled with God. And I think that story is kind of applicable today, because we too feel a lot of anger or frustration, fear, because many of us feel that life is unfair. There's injustice, and we want justice. We want things to make life easier for us or better for us. And we've been struggling with each other to make the world better. We've been fighting each other for, better life. But more we fight each other to make life better for us, it's creating more division. It's creating a lot more division. Especially right now, it seems like maybe there isn't a way. I saw on the Yahoo News today, they said there's a group. I don't know if it's Black Lives Matter group. I don't know what group it is, but they had demands, 10 things, 10 demands. I didn't read it because I don't want to read it and say, well, that's never going to happen. Or even if it does, let's say, if the Congress, the deciders of the country, decides to make new laws to make things more fair, but if it's fair for one group, then there's going to be a bunch of other group that's going to say, well, that's not fair. Right? So anytime a decider makes a law, decides to make a law, we have to follow it. Right? It's the law. But if we don't follow it, they have to send an enforcer to force the law into our lives, which creates more problems, more brutality. So it seems like we're just fighting each other. Or maybe that's what the deciders want, for us to fight each other. So we are more in need of them. But that's Jacob, in my opinion. That's how I see it. But we should become more like Jacob, that said, okay, the options for another man to make rules to make life easy for us, maybe there are no more options. What can they do? Okay, you can't make a law that says love everyone. If you don't, we're gonna arrest you. That just creates more pain, more injustice. So in a way, I think that needs to be done is for us to stop depending on another person, stop fighting another person, stop creating division. Do not be a heel grabber, but instead, let's grapple with God. Right? Grapple with God in your relationship with God and see where it is. Ask, why am I so angry? Why do I hate somebody so much? Why do I think there's so much injustice? How can I make things right in the world? Because if we were to grapple with God, then we have to be honest with ourselves and say, what can I do? Right? Besides, making things worse in the world, what can I do to edify the world? Starting with myself, with my family and my neighbors, and we just start from there. Let us grapple with God. I think that's the beginning of it all, beginning of healing. Right? There's so many points in the Bible that I think will help us, that we need to grapple with it within ourselves, so we could get rid of the anger. We could control the anger. We could know what is good and what is not in our minds, get rid of the accusers and bring in the comforter. I mean, things like that, right? I just want to start with this video today. I'll make a couple more videos about the situation in the country right now, And I think grappling with God is the beginning of it all. It's the change that needs to happen. And when we see in the spiritual sense, when we see and connect with God, there is a simple solution. This simple solution to all the pain in the world that we could take care of. I really do believe that. I don't believe that Jesus is going to come back and destroy half of the world and save the other half. I don't believe it, because it just creates more division. I'm a believer that we, when we grapple with God, we could change the world one little place at a time, right? And when we clean up the hate and injustice and things like that, not because of human law, but because through love, faith, and hope, if we could, just get along, make the world a peaceful place, I think that's when Jesus is going to return. That's what I believe. Right? But in order for that to happen, we must start with grappling with God. So I challenge you on that today. God bless you with that. All right. And I'll talk to you. Hopefully I'll make another video by tomorrow. God bless you. I'll see you next time.